So I'm going to show you how to put a foot on one of these pieces. It's going to be pretty similar to how you do a rim. You can add a coil. So you might want to wait until it's a little less sticky. In fact, I'm going to put a piece of paper down so it doesn't stick. And now you're going to make a foot ring at the bottom here. A little just coil of clay is going to get added there. And that you're going to do the same thing as before. You're going to score and slip it. I'm scoring a little offside here. You're going to score and slip that foot ring in place. And now at this point, this is a nice time, you can use your fingers, but this is a nice time to have a tool like a rubber tip tool. Let's see, you have a metal tool in your kit that has a bit of a curve, and you can use that in a similar way. But I'm kind of pressing down the clay onto itself there. The back of a paintbrush, if it's big enough, can also work, but it's going to leave you a mark, like it's going to leave a pattern. Now, this is when we start to say, okay, do I want to use that to attach and then later, make that pattern go away? Or do I want to embrace that pattern as part of my design and plan to do that maybe all the way around as well? Something like this. Looks like I got crud on my rubber tip back end there. It's dirty, so it's leaving little spots and stuff. So the reason the scoring and slipping holds it on there, the pressing down like this makes it a little bit stronger of a seal, but as you can see, it's also decorative. So that's a way to attach a little foot, and now I've got a little bowl kind of shape. Mine's a little wonky because I've been sloppy, but you can make that sort of thing. One of the things to watch out for is this is a bowl that was made by not me, and it looks lovely, doesn't it? But look at that little foot ring. Very, very tiny, and so what happens is it's very easy to tip over. This is a pinch bowl, so you can see how the size has increased. But if you make one like this, get that foot a little bit bigger. But the other thing I wanted to show you is you don't have to, this is a hand building class. We don't necessarily have to make functional work. And so this is a nice way to make a sculpture or a sculpture component. I've made 2 pinch bowls, and now I'm going to put them face to face. So I gotta make sure they're the same size. Obviously this is not gonna work well. But these two are about the same size. And if I add a little bit of slip, not too much because you don't want it dripping all over the place. Nice thick slip is particularly useful. I might add some more dry to mine to make it a little bit thicker once I have some dry to add. So I'm gonna gently push these together. Now here comes the place where you need to balance how much pressure you use. So it would be really easy for me to squish this whole thing, but if I'm fairly gentle, I can start to smooth some clay across that seam. If one of your pieces is getting a little a little dry, it may not squish quite as well. I think I've actually got a little bit of that problem going here. So you can either squish it across, or another thing you can do is you can make yourself a patch. So I'm gonna make myself a very sophisticated piece of patchwork here. And this is just wetter clay than what I've got behind it. It's not, what I have behind has only been sitting out for, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that, but it still had dried out a bit because I wandered away for a little bit. So this patch is gonna just help me make sure that that seal where those two line up where they connect is really strong. The other thing I want you to notice, and I hope you're noticing this, is that there's often lots of ways to do a thing. So one of the things I sometimes do is when my clay is pretty wet, I make the pinch bowls and then stick them together immediately, and I don't even have to use slip. Slip is a nice glue. It's helpful, but like I've said a couple times already, well, in other videos I think, it sometimes makes things real wet. But once you've got those two edges together and you don't have a visible crack, what you've got is a balloon. Now you can pop this balloon, but you can also shape this balloon. And so I'm gonna grab my wooden paddle. You might have a wooden spoon, or you can use the wooden rib. And I'm just gonna hit on the surface. I'm hitting fairly gently, and I'm kind of working my way around because I want to keep the roundness of this. That's why I'm also holding it in my hand. If I hit it down here, it's going to flatten out. So I'm kind of rounding it out this way. I can also use my smooth metal rib, not the one I used for scoring, and I can drag this over the surface. I'm not bouncing it like this. I'm dragging it. I've got it almost parallel, and I just drag it across that surface, and it can kind of smooth out the surface of this piece. And now that I've got that all secure, I can actually play with the shape. So if I want to make it a little bit more oblong or more rounded, I can. Lots of things you can do with this. So I have, if it recorded, I have a video where I turn this into a little lidded container, which I'll make one of those for you. But I can also turn it into a little critter. I sometimes like to do that. So I'm going to give this guy some little feet. If you are squishing things together really well, you don't need to score and slip. But if you're kind of sticking them on the outside, it's a good idea to score and slip. So I'm going to score up these little feet, and I'm going to decide where they go, and I'm going to score that area. I'm going to add some nice thick slip, like that. And now he's got some feet. I might have to give him some little arms. I'm going to score these, but you don't need to watch all of that. So give him some little arms, and I'll turn this guy into a little creature of some sort. So you can build sculpture with this pinch method, these pinch methods. One other thing though to think about is you are going to put, for firing these, you're going to have to drive them to campus. So if you put his arm like this, that is going to break. I promise that will break. It'll probably break before it even gets to your car. But if you put his arm like this, or his tail, or whatever it ends up being, it's a lot stronger and it's a lot less, I mean, it's not now, I haven't scored it, but once you score it, it's a lot stronger and more likely to stick.